back to the Roundtable. I'm RetroNemo, and Olin Rogers' TBS cartoon Final Space is just taking off more than ever now. Every new episode it gets better and better, it's growing a bigger and bigger following, and so we decided to take a look back at the last 4 episodes and talk about them. Now, if you remember the last time, we did a video breaking down, talking about giving our thoughts on the first 2 episodes that premiered. But now that the series has developed a little bit more and we have a little more to go off of, let's keep talking about Final Space. Now, this is where I say right now, if you do not want the series to be spoiled for you, which is smart, then, go watch the series and come back and watch this video, because it's totally worth it. Alright, you have been warned. So guys, these last 4 episodes were absolutely wild in terms of the plot and everything that happened in them. Some of the major things that happened were Quinn reunited with our crew, and if you remember, the big tension there was that she had no idea who Gary was, even though Gary was sending her letters like every day. We saw a version of Quinn from the future who was following the team. They found out that Earth's government, which Quinn fought for, actually worked for Lord Commander secretly. That was a big twist. Another cool thing they revealed is Lord Commander's backstory. He was actually a partner of Gary's dad. But then the blast destroyed their ship and actually gave him his powers. We don't know the full story yet. We don't know why he turned evil. So hopefully they explain it before the end of the season. They also explained the creation of Mooncake. When Gary's dad destroyed the space rift and it all came together, Mooncake is what it created. Mooncake is made of Final Space. But we still don't really know what Final Space is. I don't know what it means to be made of Final Space. I don't get it. I don't know, maybe I'm just an idiot, but I'm still confused by a lot that's happening right now. And I'm not gonna ignore the elephant in the room here. The biggest thing that happened is that Avocado died after reuniting with his son Little Cato, who they were trying to rescue. So yeah, in 4 episodes, a lot has happened. So I'm gonna break this down into things I liked about the 4 episodes and things that I didn't like, and then an overall consensus about all of it. First of all, Olin Rogers, a gosh dang YouTuber, found his way into Hollywood and now he has his own cartoon. That alone is one of the most inspiring stories I have ever heard. I just want to give props to the man for finding a way in, getting there, working hard, making a show happen. No matter what you want to say about the show, you cannot deny that that is extremely respectable. One thing I really liked is that for 4 episodes, there was so much character development. And this goes for the series overall as a whole. The fact that they're developing these characters, that these characters are changing every episode, that they're interacting with each other in new ways, we're seeing different sides of them, that is great. And that is missing a lot from a lot of adult cartoons. That I say adult cartoons with quotations because it's such a stupid name for the genre. But that is something that's seriously critically missing. And I feel like that's great that his characters are this 3-dimensional and fleshed out, even in only 7 episodes. Props there. I think specifically things like integrating Quinn into the crew was a really smart move. In those first 2 episodes, they showed Quinn, but she was more of a plot B type situation. Now she's with the main crew. Throughout episodes, she naturally flew into their storyline, and I think that's just a really great way of doing it. It's not like in episode 1, they all met and knew each other. It was this thing develops. Every episode's different. It's great. Another thing I really loved about this show is that it set up not really a formula, but sort of consistencies in it. They have their ship, they return to the ship at the end of every episode, hopefully, and they always start out on the ship and they leave it and they come back. I think that's really great that there's that center area, and that means we get to hear a lot of Tom Kenny because he's the voiceover on the ship, which you gotta love that. It's just good to have a central hub, and the fact that their central hub is something that moves around space, it gives a lot of opportunities for stories and episodes to come. Speaking of space, this is a really cool sci-fi show. There's a lot of really cool space stuff here. We saw other planets, a lot of different creatures. My personal favorite, they had these aliens that were little eyeball guys. They had eyeballs floating around them, and they were this creepy order. I love that. Also really cool were the Titans that they introduced in episode 8. These giant space gods that got sealed off into another dimension of space. Seeing original designs for creatures and monsters, especially in a sci-fi show, is really great. That episode where they went into the Titan's head and Gary had an emotional reconnection with his dad, that was really great. Seeing Gary go back and just have that moment with his dad that he never had before was really heartwarming, and I feel that addition of it really closed that door for his character a little bit. And then to double back and to use that as an explanation for actually why his dad died, I think that just adds an extra layer to the whole show. Another thing to point out that's great about the show, aside from the plot, is the voice cast is incredible in Final Space. David Tennant, you can't even tell it's his voice. Steven Yeun, all of these A-list celebrities are absolutely killing it, including Olin himself, who's doing a great job voicing Gary. I know being a creator and a big part on your show and also voicing a character can probably be grueling and draining, but he does it anyways, and he does it really well. I think the best thing overall that Final Space has going for it is that this plot changes in big ways. The twist with the government working for Lord Commander, killing Avocado, I mean, these are big moves that I didn't think they would even get to at all in this season, or that they'd ever even do. I mean, honestly, watching the first episode of Final Space, I didn't think they'd kill off a character, and then they did, and it was legitimately surprising. I was taken aback, so they did their job. It wasn't obvious or anything. I think keeping an overarching story that anything can happen happen in is what really keeps your show fresh and enjoyable and ultimately keeps people watching. So I think they did a really good job with that. I love Little Kato. That character's great. In the beginning, they're just like, he was this kid who was stuck in prison, but ever since they busted him out, now he's part of like the main crew. By episode 7, he's like with them all. He has his own character. You know who he is. And yeah, it's great. I thought it would be like this annoying little runt that they had to save, but no, they swiftly took care of that. And now he's like a really good aspect of the show. So overall, it's just been really good at world building along with character building. And the show's been genuinely funny. And guys, at the end of the day, it's entertaining. That's the biggest thing. I think the best thing about Final Space is that it's entertaining and that I just enjoy watching it. I mean, that's hard to do half the time, so it wins there. Final Space definitely has way more positives than negatives going for it at the moment. But that being said, no show is perfect, so I want to voice some things that I didn't like about these last 4 episodes. This is something I see a lot sometimes, is that maybe Gary's character is overbearing and that, you know, it's a little too much. And I felt that way in the first 2 episodes, but as the episodes go along, you get more used to his character, so I want to address that as sort of like a dislike I had that I got used to and I actually ended up liking as the episodes went on. But not all of the comedy in the show lands with me, and that's okay. That's how comedy works. It's spotty. But there's some jokes where I was like there's a scene where they talk about just buttholes for like 5 minutes, and I'm like, I get it. It's not my cup of tea. Maybe you laughed at it. I don't know. There's jokes in there for everyone. So if you're not into like that type of humor, some jokes may make you cringe, but other jokes make you laugh out loud. So it's really just a mixed bag.
Why would they connect the nerve endings to my robot head?
But this is the biggest problem I have with Final Space, and it's that the show is moving too fast. I genuinely believe that at the pace it's going, I don't know like how long it's gonna go on, because they literally killed off a main character at episode 6. I think that that's a move you can do, but I think that you have to acknowledge that killing off a character so soon lessens the impact of the death. At least for me it did. I knew Avocado and I knew that they were friends, but there wasn't enough time for them to build a proper relationship or for me to like know them enough for that death to really hit that impact zone. Because don't get me wrong, the death made me super sad, it impacted me a lot, and I was surprised by it, but it just could have been so much more poignant if I like knew him better and I had more time to watch his character grow, especially with all of the other characters. In episode 7 specifically, Gary would act like they had like all these battles and adventures, but there was really only 5 episodes worth of stuff. I mean, I don't know like the timeline of it, but how long did they really know each other? I know losing a friend sucks, but I think if they had them like fighting together, maybe for a season at least, then it would have been way more believable. Then it would have had a much bigger impact on the show overall. The show just kind of is moving really fast, and I'm not sure. There's a lot of great plot points and a lot of things that they set up in like episodes 1 and 2 that I was excited for, but then they would get solved right away. Like Little Kato being in prison, I thought that would last like a season or maybe more trying to get him out, or at least a lot of episodes, but he was out of that jail in like 6. And then another big thing, I was completely shook when that mysterious figure took off her helmet and it turned out to be Quinn from the future. I had so many questions. I'm like, whoa, a mystery element. This show's getting even better and I can't wait to see what happens. And then I saw what happens like 4 episodes later. It sets up all of these great storylines and plot points and then they just end after a little bit. I want to see something that like lasts throughout like the whole series. And I guess that's what the mystery of Final Space is. They're keeping that under wraps for now. But according to the Wikipedia page, and I don't think this is an accurate source by any means, but it says that episode 10, Gary Quinn and the team battle the Lord Commander to decide the fate of Final Space and the universe. That sounds like the giant final fight of the series. How many seasons is this show expected to go on if they're wrapping everything up so fast? I don't know. They could always take it in a different direction, and they could always be juking us out here. Maybe Avocado's not even dead. But I just feel like, you know, everything's happening a little too fast for the stories to mean as much as they could. Because there's genuinely great stories going on here. They're just happening too fast. Finally, a little bit of nitpicks, just stuff that I don't think is like a flaw in the series, but I had a problem with. I just thought personally, and you can disagree with me here, the idea of Quinn having a Quinn from the future who came back was, I don't know, a kind of an overplayed sort of trope. Like when they were standing there and it's like, I'm you from the future, no, I'm me. It's like, I've seen this before, I don't know. I also feel like, and this is just like speculating as a theory, them introducing time travel into the series is kind of a dead giveaway that maybe Avocado's not really dead. If time travel exists, then they're gonna find a way to go back in time and get Avocado. I mean, it's just what people do. But maybe they won't do that. I don't know. I can't say what's gonna happen in Final Space. I can just talk about what already happened, give my thoughts. That was really the only nitpicking thing I had, actually. I don't know. The show's really good, despite all of this. So, to conclude, guys, Final Space has had a great 7-episode run, and I've really fallen in love with the show at every episode. With each twist and turn, I just find myself rooting for the characters even more, and I'm really excited to see where the show goes. Despite its flaws, I feel like the show can really patch things up and sort of get on the right track. It's just a new show, and it's taking time to find its footing, finding what it wants to be, where it wants to go. And I think if everyone just gave it a chance and let it play out, then it'll really prove itself to be a really great cartoon. It already is proving itself to be a really great cartoon. I mean, the Rotten Tomato score is really good, people are liking it, people are watching it, so yeah, looks like Final Space is gonna be around for a while. But it's the Roundtable, you know how it works. We wanna know what you guys think. Have you been watching Final Space? Do you like it? Do you hate it? Let us know in those comments down below. Let's get a talk going. If you wanna consider helping out the Roundtable, you can check out our Patreon. There you can get exclusive access to things like scripts and avatars, and even have your name shown at the end of the videos like all of these beautiful people here. For a little bit more money, you can get a shout out at the end of the month. If you can't get enough of the Roundtable, you can check us out at Roundtable Viz with our Instagram and Facebook under the same name, and Roundtable YT for our Snapchat. As always, guys, if you enjoyed this video, give it a like, comment, hit that notification bell, and subscribe to the Roundtable for some more great cartoon content like this. As always, I'm RetroNemo. These were my thoughts on episode 3 through 7 of Final Space, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.